long time ago. So, well, I mean, a week ago, which might be considered a long time ago considering my memory. And, well, I mean, to be fair to myself, I did have other things to think about in between looking at the email and getting the actual cast done. Alright, so whatever. Don't care who sent in the replay at this point. We have a synthetic a priori judge, or a priori, if he's Italian. Oh, hi, Mark. And so that's Wehrmacht plus OKW versus Guoming Jun, the National Revolutionary Army of the Hoi clan, and Panzer Moving, both being the allies. You'll be playing the game while watching my cast. How is that even possible? There must be some kind of god at multitasking. You must be some kind of man. And yeah, essentially Soviets plus Americans on rails and metal. So should be nice. Should be nice. Yeah, have a little bit of Volksgrenadier. Well, Volksgrenadier definitely on this side, but a little bit of Osttruppen action actually from Synthetic. So Synthetic, yeah, looking to be expanding his control of the right side with a lot of cheap infantry at the start to help out with protecting his MG42. Of course, he's going to have to deal with the slight problem that the Americans just got into the big, rails and metal central house, which means that they're going to have a relatively good time in the early game. And looks like the Red Army here is trying to come in from the flank. And that's that could potentially be pretty bad for the Volksgrenadiers over there. And here we have the Sturm Pioneers trying to move in to support with another Sturm Pioneer squad. I'm guessing that this first conscript is going to be forced to go home. And there isn't really that much else for the Soviets to come in and support. So that fight goes to the Oberkommando West. Whereas in the south, we have that the Osttruppen are moving in at close range against the American infantry, which is a very bad decision. They almost get wiped for that trouble. Both of the squads almost get wiped. But the MG42 is still firing. However, it's getting flanked. So, yeah, not going to work. Probably just going to have to retreat. Oh, I would retreat while it's still unset up. But no, he decides to set up, and he's lucky that this other rifleman squad is not pushing up. So, Guoming Jun is definitely not pressing his advantage as hard as he could be. But now he comes in with this rear echelon, and MG42 most likely will have to run away. Although, with the support of the map border, he can avoid getting himself flanked, and this is only a rear echelon troop, so it's not going to be the most dangerous unit out there. This rifleman was getting suppressed and was kept in suppression by the, the Osttruppen over there. So yeah, that's pretty good. The Osttruppen are able to get into the building, and this means that they're going to be a lot more resilient. But here comes a grenade actually from NRA. So National Revolutionary Army over here, and I'll just call them NRA from now on, because it's just easier to say. Spending quite a bit of fuel on his early game with not only the grenades but also the ambulance, so this should help him out. But we still have the problem with this MG42. He just can't seem to get around and into its rear to destroy it, or at least force it to retreat and not suppress his guys constantly. He's trying desperately to hide behind the shack, but it's not working. So bad for him. Meanwhile, the Soviets haven't been checking them out, but they seem to be doing okay considering their first engagement. Not going too well, but all of their squads are very low on HP, as you can see. So this means that the Oberkommando, who might be going for a medical truck soon enough, well, soon he's going to have healed units, and maybe the Soviets won't. Maybe the Soviets will have to get themselves their own medics, or maybe they're going to have to use the ambulance, the amber lamps. And because of all of these squads being so, so heavily damaged, as you can see, there's 4 conscript squads, but they're going to lose to essentially 3 German squads, plus the cube wagon. Well, I mean, then with the cube wagon, the victory is all but assured, and this is all very, very dangerous. If the Germans can focus fire on one or two squads, they can actually wipe them out. But it looks like the cube wagon will not be giving chase, which is a very, very, very mistaken move, as well as the Sturm Pioneers not giving chase. Another big mistake will allow a lot of Soviets to get the hell out of there. So that's see what you're saying. Hey, Venachar, or Venetsar, not entirely sure. I'm never really sure how to say your name, but yeah. And hey, Huang, how is it going? Ostrupen, yes, they're viable. And Stu caught me live finally. Oh, well, I am happy that you love my casts, and yeah. What happened to the Fallout stream? I think you mean the one that was going on like a while ago, and well, that one is on hold permanently, considering that the Fallout game got upgraded. The Fallout mod got upgraded, and so the saves do not work anymore. This map is best for Ostrupen. Every map is best for Ostrupen. All right, so coming back into the game. After some amazing top-of-the-line viewer interaction, practically the next PewDiePie and Helping Hands confirmed, we see that we have some INR Pathfinders from NRA, so he has decided to go for the Airborne Recon. That's interesting. So this is a very, very decent doctrine overall, because it's very good at doing some things and very bad at everything else. It doesn't have any late game call-ins, but it does have a mid game potentially nasty Greyhound. And yeah, the airdropped combat group is also very, very nasty. Very, very, very nasty. These engineers should probably not be staying at maximum range against the Cube Wagon, to be honest. TBH. But I guess they're just kind of being forgotten about. The conscripts have been healed up by the glorious... this is what communism is all about, I guess. The new humanity, Homo Sovieticus, has been achieved, and it's just people being Siamese triplets. Anyway, looks like we have a grenade on Ostrupen. That's a bit of a waste of munitions, especially when you can get 2 AT guns for 80 munitions and 325 manpower. Actually, no, it's not 2 AT guns. It's a paratrooper and an AT gun. But this is very, 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 very good. Like, it's just amazingly good. You do not even know how good this is. Well, you do, because I'm telling you. And looks like this conscript squad is in big, big trouble. There's a lot of fire and flame and fury going on from the folks. And, well, in the end, the Soviet conscripts do survive. They're able to put the Volksgrenadiers and the Stern Pioneers especially back in their place. And now they're going to be trying to move in, I guess. But the Kielbogen's still there. It's taking heavy damage from the Mosin Nagants. Honestly, this one Volksgrenadier squad, I don't see it surviving very long, because fight fire with fire. Here comes the Molotov cocktail, and these guys will definitely not be party animals tonight. So they run away. And National Revolutionary Army, because he can drop down the AT guns, he is obviously going to go for the lieutenant, which means that he can get machine guns and AT guns as USF without really any problems. So that's always one of the big strengths of like the airborne doctrines, is that you can go one or the other, or in this case only lieutenant, and then still get the other, you know, important type of support weapons, because obviously for the Americans you get the mortar from the HQ, so you're always going to have mortars available to you. It seems like the Americans are trying to push in, which is, it's going pretty well. Despite there being a second machine gun, he's able to push in, and with the extra added firepower for both the Lieutenant and the INR Pathfinders, who do not do the most damage on their own, but they are very, very strong because they're scoped rifles. They have one sniper kind of guy. He can, of course, execute wounded enemies. So if enemies are on low HP, then the INR Pathfinders can get some nasty kills without the enemy realizing. On the left we have a Lux, so Ohaimark actually decided to go for the mechanized rather than the battle group, and that's okay. That's okay, especially because his opponent was forced to spend a lot of manpower reinforcing his conscripts in the early game, so obviously he was late on his AT gun, you know, only getting it at 9 minutes, and well, now he's got anti-tank grenades, but he had picked up his Molotovs, so I'm guessing that Ohaimark was making kind of an educated guess that he wouldn't have had AT grenades in time, because 4 AT grenades, maybe they do not destroy the Lukes, but they definitely can hurt it. Mine destroys the greedy cube wagon as it was trying to get that VP. That was very good. So use those mines to good effect, and yeah, we have National Revolutionary Army. He's gonna showcase the might of the airdropped combat group. Freedom is gonna drop from the sky in a pure, unadulterated form, and that's a paratrooper squad, paratrooper support squad actually, that can upgrade. Yeah, they can still upgrade the two 1919 light machine guns. The only difference from the normal paratroopers is that they can also upgrade the bazooka. And then an AT gun. So just kind of taken how amazing this ability is. So 325 manpower is essentially 65 more than a standard AT gun. Keeping in mind that he's going to be recrewing it with rear echelon troops, which means that one rear echelon should be 20, right? Come on, reinforce. I know you want to. 25. Wow, they're expensive now. Anyway, 75. So it's 140 more manpower just for the AT gun, okay, than the normal AT gun from the captain. But it pair drops into essentially the map and doesn't have to walk all the way from the spawn. And you also get a like 380 manpower airborne. I think airborne normally around like that kind of price. So yeah, you're essentially just getting for free 300 manpower. You're of course also paying 80 munitions, but I don't remember exactly what the exchange rate between munitions and manpower is. I'd have to go look at the munitions drop ability to see what the exchange rate is, but it's definitely pretty damn good. I can tell you that much. So yeah, that's good. Yeah, we're gonna see. So this one, I think this one gives 200 munitions. Anyway, the AT gun is gonna come in very handy very soon, as here comes a Flammenwerfer. And obviously this one is gonna try to actually burn down the building, burning down the house. And yeah, that's a good idea, so that the enemy cannot use it ever again. AT gun on the left, doing well, but he decides to, for some reason, fire an artillery barrage at the approaching enemy infantry instead of finishing off the Lukes, which would have been possible had he just, you know, continued firing normally. And now, with the Stern Pioneers at close range and the cover being denied by that flame grenade, I'm guessing that the conscripts are gonna have a relatively difficult time. Of course, because the Stern Pioneers are busy back here fighting, they can't actually repair the Panzer II, but they can be repaired by the mechanized. And also he has built the battle group as well. So, going very, very thorough on the teching. That's an interesting choice from Synthetic, not Synthetic, from Oheimark. Whereas the Ostruppen are starting to be upgraded with those MG42s that they get now. And they do, I believe, like half damage from the Grenadiers. I think it's, well, it's definitely reduced, but yeah, I think it's something like half damage, but it's still very nasty because it's only 45 munitions. And if someone else picks it up, it does full damage. It's only the Ostruppen that do half damage with it. So it's actually pretty damn nasty. Of course, because he, and by he I mean NRA, because he went with the Lieutenant, he can get the A half-track. That's very, very bad for the A half-track. He survives with just a bare sliver of health. Incredibly lucky there. From the AP rounds, of course. These things are scary, obviously. Pack 40 is going to be purchased from Synthetic just to get a little bit of extra support against the AT gun in case his machine gun, you know, Vet 2 machine gun is not present. And yeah, as you can see, the paratrooper is getting upgraded with those 1919 machine guns, and these are going to be basically the linchpin of the anti-infantry for NRA. He's also going to get the M8 Greyhound CPs right now, so at 5. I wonder if he's going to try to go for it. In the last few times I've used it, which admittedly was a while ago, they might have changed it about it. I'm pretty sure they didn't. The last time that I did use it, it just didn't really work out all that much. It's basically a faster steward with less armor and, you know, the canister shot, but the canister shot is kind of derpy these days. And anyway, he's, I think, going for the major. Yep, major being unlocked. Grenades going down on the building with the machine gun. Doing okay. That's going to allow the airborne actually to get out of suppression, and now the airborne can come in, and with the cooked grenade, he is going to be very, very, very deadly on those two guys. They're very low on HP, and I think he can take out the vet-free machine gun crew. Very well done. That's possibly the most important unit on the Axis side as a whole, even more than the Lukes and the Flame Half-Track, because these are going to be relatively useless by the time widespread AT, you know, is proliferating through the battlefield. But that vet-free machine gun, the only counter would have been like excessive light artillery, you know, excessive support gun spam or mortars. So that vet-free machine gun crew going down is actually very important. Also, the machine gun itself died because it was in a building. So yeah, big loss for Synthetic. He's going to try to, I think, recover. So he's going to send in the counterattack, and that counterattack is going to be the Flammenwerfer. The Flammenwerfer, which is probably going to be enough to keep this machine gun in German hands. I mean, I'm not sure. Because he's also trying to get his Ostruppen in there to help, but they're being absolutely massacred by the Lieutenant. This is just absolutely brutal. And now the AT gun is finally brought up, because, you know, it was a little bit back, but now he's in good position, and ooh, actually popping the smoke with the Lieutenant, clearly trying to prevent any kind of suppression platforms that are here from perhaps preventing the Lieutenant. Obviously, this is also red cover, you know, negative cover, so yeah, any cover is helpful. Luke's trying to move in and actually doing very well along with the infantry support, moving in very deep behind Soviet, you know, the Soviet front, and yeah, despite the damaged engine, he's doing quite well for himself at destroying the Soviet vanguard, you could say, and sending it back at base. So yeah, let's see. Ah, Vinitsar. Yeah, I know you as obviously polite people. I remember that you are polite people, but oh, okay, so that Tsar is just Tsar, okay, and not Char. When in doubt, spam Ostruppens. I haven't read about the new commander changes yet, and since they're going to be coming out in October, I'm going to be doing that soon. And yeah, I'm going to check out the lovely changelog. Yeah, that game is expensive. Hello, Psycho. Yeah, man. Apparently it's very complicated. But yeah, I've never played Warhammer, nor Warhammer 40k. In fact, I've never played board games, really. It was just never my thing. It's too social an activity for me. XD. Yeah, but seriously, like, in terms of... I always love how these like random smoke drops always come in, because people still use this as a reconnaissance. So yeah, just love that. But yeah, I was like into card games, but never into board games. And oh, that's a German mine. That is a German mine. Yeah, taking a look at the overall situation, it seems like the Allies have a slight advantage when it comes to unit numbers thanks to the Americans. And the Americans are in a very great position on the map. And considering that their doctrine is the recon support, they do have a little bit of extra defensive options that they can use. But as we head further into the late game, they're going to have to start really relying on some battalion command post units. Which means that the more they bloat their infantry and support weapon count with riflemen, airborne, all these guys, the less they're going to have space for vehicles later on. And they don't have any call-ins. Whereas his ally Panzer moving, he's gone for the counterattack tactics, and now he's purchased a T-34-76, which is not the worst idea ever, because he can help... he can help against the Panzer too. And thankfully he did not go for the KB1 because it's not the best vehicle ever. But we'll see if he tries to go for the B4, which would be definitely an interesting choice, but it's always pretty difficult to use. Okay, so Luke's is trying to move in. He's going to get around the firing arc of the anti-tank gun, and that's obviously why only one anti-tank gun is not a big counter for the Luke's. So Luke's is now going to be just running away now that he sees the T-34. The German infantry was trying to move in to defeat these machine guns and to flank them, but it did not work out well for them. Looks like one of the Volksgrenadiers went down, and now the Raketenwerfer is going to be the only thing saving the Luke's from the clutches of the T-34 as it pushes it back. In the meantime, we have a big American blob pushing in from the center, and this is not perhaps the best place for them to be with the AA, sorry, not the AA, the Flame half-track moving in. Thankfully, he's got the support of the anti-tank gun, well positioned, but, you know, still not going to be enough. Here comes a Stuka barrage from the north, and that's going to be going down on the T-34. Yeah, I guess he was trying to snipe the repairing engineers, but, well, you know, well dodged. Pretty good reflexes from Panzer moving is going to prevent that disaster from unfolding. Panzerwerfer also, so it looks like lots of rockets for the Germans. But the Wunderwaffles will not be that effective for the Wehrmacht either. Wait, what? What is this? He just fired and yet he can fire again? Well, there's definitely something that's bugged in here. I'm not sure if it's bugged because he can fire twice in a row, or if it's bugged because it's not showing the cooldown. Let's see, if I select another unit, then come back in. Not working. If I select another player, then select them. Not working. I don't know. Considering that he's not using it against this blob, I'm guessing it's bugged in the second option. So it's just not showing the cooldown. Okay. We do have Puma coming in. Not the best choice ever, but oh, look at this. Flammenwerfer just absolutely roasting the entire, you know, combined allied blob. T-34-76 comes in to try to stop it, and looks like he could fire after all. That's pretty much bullshit. Now it's on cooldown. I'm not sure what the hell is happening. T-34-76 is not at all amused by the Puma smoke. He uses attack round to finish him off. Nope, misses the last shot, and now he's actually in a little bit of danger, but he's going to be trying to push in and finish off the Puma. Doesn't work with the first shot. Second shot is not going to come in because the Puma actually takes out the main gun, luckily for its survival. Still though, the aftermath of this engagement is that the Allies control essentially all of the VPs. The center is kind of contested, but yeah, the Allies are in control of the field. The Soviets have finally managed to move up in the west and, you know, push up with their support weapons, and that might be enough to hold off the OKW tide that's coming in against them. Once he has his infantry all reinforced, he's going to be in a safer position. And of course, on the right, we have the Americans kind of securing their position and then trying to project themselves onto the center, which would obviously be pretty good, because from there he can help out his allies on the left, just like he did with the last engagement. And as you can see, the Germans are kind of forced back into a defensive position, a little bit closer to their base. Here comes more Panzerwerfers, actually. The Flammenwerfer died, and Stuka zu Fuß is reloaded. Interesting how he decided to push it all the way back, essentially to even further off than the base, just to hide it. But now it's back up, and he can use it. He's gonna go for the Puma spam, which is not something I've seen in a long time, and promises to be pretty entertaining, to be honest, considering, you know, it's not something you see every day, and weirdly enough, it can be something that works out. Because to be honest, one Puma in, like, you know, 18 minutes doesn't really do too much. But if you start to spam out Pumas against someone who's going for more T-34s kind of thing, it's actually relatively useful. Now, one thing that I feel like Panzer moving could try to do, that was an effective Panzerwerfer barrage, kills 2 engineer squads. You know, I know, not the most impressive prize for the Panzerwerfers, but it's still like 280 manpower, you know? It's better than nothing. Is it 280, or did I just embarrass myself? Oh, wow. They're expensive. Really now? Wow, 170. Almost also wiping out a conscript. Still though, 340 manpower taken down there, and also the munitions-based upgrades. So obviously, you know, 90 munitions, I think, from flamethrower plus hazard removal kit. Yep, because there was 1 and 1. So good Panzer barrages, good Stuka barrages, and I was saying with the Puma spam, I think this kind of opens up for panzer moving the possibility of going with a KV-1. Because to be honest, the main problem with the KV-1 is that, yeah, its main selling point is the armor. That's why it's a lot more expensive than the T-34-76, despite having essentially the same firepower. Damn, that's sad. Despite having essentially the same firepower and being a lot slower. You know, the selling point is the armor, but usually everything can penetrate it anyway. But the Pumas, oh, okay, it looks like the Puma spam is not going to happen. That's really sad. Sherman on the field, though, from NRA. Big AT gun, obviously, but wow, this machine gun. Is that a new machine gun? Yeah, I think that's the new machine gun. Because obviously, the Allies have one, so that means that the one that was killed a long time ago was actually taken. T-34 goes down, actually, well flanked from the Puma, and, you know, preventing him from escaping by blocking him in the rear with the Rakenwerfer. The Lux was distracting this AT gun and somehow managed to survive that. Not sure how. Probably because the AT gun missed like 4 shots or something. So yeah, the Germans coming out of the left engagement quite well off, and to be honest, they're gonna need a few more of those if they want to come back into this. Especially because Oheimark still does not have the 4th truck set up, and he's got 200 fuel, which means that he's trying to, you know, establish what he's gonna be doing for the late game. I think that whatever he does, to be honest, at this point, he needs the Schwer Panzer Reporters, because even if he's going for the KT, he's gonna need that. If he's going for Tier 4 units, he's gonna need Tier 4, and he can't go with the Puma spam at this point. You know, it's 25 minutes in. If you've canceled the second Puma by now, you're never gonna get it. So yeah, it's relatively sad for you. And, well, I mean, Synthetic is going to try to find some way to deal with this American amazingness. That was an interesting Stuka barrage. And yeah, I don't see how... Especially with the artillery continuing to miss, I'm not exactly sure how the Germans can come back into this, because to be honest, the Allies are just in such a dominant position, and they're gonna waste their Puma, it seems. The mine hits both the T-34-76 and the Puma, but the Puma is the, you know, slower on the draw with the attack round. So well done to Panzer moving. Very good usage of the attack round. He's able to take down that Puma. And now with the Sherman, you know, not really having any opposition in the form of Pumas, the only thing he has to worry about are AT guns. So that's a very good position for the Sherman to be in, because obviously, you know, Shermans, they eat infantry and soft targets. So yeah, they can take down those AT guns. Oheimark needs to go for the for something. I'm not sure. Well, National Revolutionary Army is already calling the GG here, and it's not correct. You can all see the time bar, but I'm not seeing how the Germans are going to come back into this, because the Allies have control over every important strategic point on the map. All the VPs, all the munitions, all the fuel. The Germans only have mid-tier units to face off against an incoming Allied late game. And yeah, the Allies are going into the late game. The Allies are starting to get artillery of their own, whereas the Germans, they have artillery, but they have little else. We do have a Panther, however, coming in from Synthetic Judge, and ooh, this Sherman eats some Panzerfaust from the Osttrupens. So maybe those AT guns can push up. Where the hell are those AT guns? Oh, they're back at base reinforcing. That's sad. Okay, so the Germans can at least recap the left for a little bit, and that's crucial actually because they're at 125 VPs, so they need to at least neutralize a few VPs, if not outright just kind of run every unit at one of the VPs and capping that and trying to hold that. Of course, they're not doing that so far. Sherman here in big trouble. I mean, these Shermans really need to be, they really need to be used in a coordinated fashion. Like, what he has been doing so far is that he has been sending one in when it's repaired, and then the other one is repairing in the meantime, and then while he's repairing this one, he sends in that one gets beaten up, goes back, is repairing, and then the other one gets sent in, and it's kind of piecemeal. What he needs to do is he needs to try to save up until he's got both of the Shermans ready to go. Now things are going to be a little bit more difficult for him considering that the Panther's there. But if he can lure the Panther into the anti-tank gun and flank with the Shermans and use the armor-piercing rounds, then he can take out the Panther, even with just Shermans. And the Shermans are still going to be very, very useful at dealing with the infantry. But it looks like this one's going to die, which is a kind of blessing in disguise because he's at 90 pop cap. As it stands, he can't get a Jackson, but now he can get one. So I guess, you know, you win some, you lose some. Is that Allstrupper going to even get wiped? No. Incredibly lucky. On the left, the Soviets are moving in, and they're doing quite well, but they get Stukaed, so they have to run away. Panzerwerfer falling down on the Allied blob, doing a little bit of suppression, but not the most damage ever. And looks like we have a bit of a bazooka flank from the captain. The captain now only has one bazooka, so yeah. Yet another Panzerwerfer. Damn. Absolutely destroys and obliterates. So obviously that anti-tank gun had its crew killed earlier, and now its second crew is dead, which means that this Sherman is in big trouble because here comes the Panther and it's still repairing. They get back in there just in time, and now it needs to run away. Probably should pop some of that smoke as well. And now there's basically nothing left because there were no other AT guns. There's basically nothing left to protect the base area. And that's not very good because here comes some railway artillery on probably not the best position because that's going to kill the Panther. Wow, that's incredibly lucky that he missed. Usually the railway doesn't miss the first shell, it just misses the other ones. Still though, he's so damn close to death with essentially every critical known to man. In the meantime, on the left, somehow both of those T-34s and the Katyusha were destroyed in the last engagement. Mind blown. I was looking at the other area, so now there's only an Su-85 for Panzer moving and a couple of infantry squads to face off against essentially a big elite German infantry force and the free tier 3 units. I mean, if it wasn't for the infantry being so much better for the Germans right now, it would honestly be relatively even. But with better infantry, the Germans have a little bit of a safer position, I feel like. Looks like the Puma was also destroyed and rebuilt, which is, well, quite impressive. So Oheimark, I'm not sure what he's doing. He's still saving up 200 fuel, but whenever he loses his Puma, he rebuilds it, which means that, you know, he's been sitting on that 200 fuel for a while because anytime he gets a little bit more, he doesn't use it. And when he uses it, he uses it on a Puma instead of on a Schwere Panzer headquarters. Fair. Grenade, not enough munitions. So on the south side we have the Jackson for an array over here, and that might be a good idea. That might be a great idea, in fact. And now the situation is completely reversed. We have that the Allies are pushed back to the base with not that many chances of coming back, and the Germans controlling everything, just like that.
like, honestly, to me, it just seems like the Allies got sloppy with their, you know, units, with their tactical control. Because, you know, no one's really changed strategy drastically. It's just, you know, it was working before for the Allies, and now it's working for the Axis. It's honestly really weird, because usually whenever these big swings kind of happen is when, like, you know, a unit that no one was expecting hits the field and just destroys everything because no one was prepared for it. But it's like, no, I mean, this time we had just that, you know, the Allies were basically superior because of their infantry and their kind of mid-game armor, and then they wasted the armor. And then their AT guns died. And so now the Panther can run around, you know, wherever he wants and kill everything. And then Puma spam can be effective on the left. And then the infantry does not have anything that can counter it. And then the infantry wins. That seems like what's happened, but, you know, I haven't seen the left side, so I only know about the right side. Interesting. So actually, once this other fight is going to be dead, I'm going to look at the chat. So here comes a big railway artillery. He's not paying attention to it. And that's pretty bad, but no, he sees it and is going to get away. Man, this is weird, seeing railway artillery being used like this. Because generally it just falls way too slow for it to be of any effect, really. Like, what he could have done is he could have used the railway artillery, predicted that he would be, you know, dodging into one direction or the other, and used the railway artillery as kind of like a goading tactic to make him go into somewhere, and then Panzerwerfer for that somewhere. So, for example, if he expected them to move up, he could have Panzerwerfer up. But he did not do that. Assault gun on the left. Looks like he finally was able to destroy that Luke's. And one of the Pumas is dead as well. In fact, two of the Pumas are dead as well. And now a third or fourth or fifth Puma's on the field. That's the fourth Puma.
Points are down to 300.
And the Americans are back. The Soviets are also relatively back. But can they hold this time? Because, again, last time they did lose quite a lot of important units. Damn, that rifleman squad got obliterated. Definitely the MVP, I'd say, for the Wehrmacht is the Panzerwerfers. Like 34 kills on one and 19 on the other. But especially if we look at the infantry force from Hoy NRA, we see that he's down to his lieutenant, his INR Pathfinders, and one of his riflemen and the captain. So essentially, two of his riflemen and his rear echelons have been wiped by the Panzerwerfer barrages, and also his stolen machine gun was wiped, and his AT guns have been getting wiped. You know, very, you could say, you know, I don't have the word right now. It's not coming to my head. Very constantly, very consistently, right? That's a good word. So he's been very consistently wiped out on his AT guns, and his other infantry took a hell of a beating. So, both in terms of numbers and quality, the Americans have been thinned out quite a bit by the Panzerwerfers, which has allowed just free Ostrupen to be very effective at just taking and holding territory on the right. Anyway, so that fight's over. Let's see. Shut up. Yeah, we can talk a little in Discord. And hey, cute the cutie. Oh, it's morning for you. Must be in California or something. Iron Harvest. Joined the Grape Gang. Well, I don't have Iron Harvest because I haven't clicked the page, not the Patreon, but you get what I mean. The Indiegogo, whatever it is, Kickstarter. Because I don't really make a habit of using Kickstarter and stuff. I don't know. And yeah, oh right, the Discord server. I was actually wanting to talk a little bit about it after, you know, game number 1 is over and I take a little bit of a break. Yeah, I have a few things to show. Because in case none of you know, and some of you clearly know, there is a Discord server, and I'm gonna... Well, there's already the link, I believe, down in the description of the stream. By the way, like the stream. If you want, you can like the stream as well. That way when, yeah. That way when actually, like, section off the stream into videos, and I keep one of the videos as, like, the stream, quote-unquote, that can get more, you know, recommendations and more views. It's really retarded how YouTube works in that way. And, yeah, the Allies are resurgent yet again. I just have no idea what's going on. It's just back and forth literally the entire game. And it's weird because normally when you see back and forth is when people are spamming just like T-34s and conscripts. And they don't have any support weapons. But these guys do have support weapons. So, you know, it's relatively weird. And let's take the Panther. Yeah, he made a bit of a mistake and he has been punished very heavily. Well done by National Revolutionary Army because he was able to push in with the lieutenant and take down the Pack 40. He's also stolen one Pack 40, so he's now in a very good position to counter any other German armors. But we have that the Germans on the left are moving into the Pumas, and yep, there goes the Su-85. The T-34 is already dead. Unfortunately, though, the Pumas can't really do anything else because now that they've killed the tanks, they don't have anything to shoot at. Or do they? Because the Jackson, very, very unfortunately and unwisely for him, decided to try to come in and deal with the Pumas. Of course, with that HP being so very low, he is in a big, big pile of shit. Thankfully for him, the Pumas have been missing, but yep, he goes down, and no vehicles are left on the field except the Puma, the Highlander, and the new Panther. So now down to 25 points. The Germans, however, can get to the center, and with the Allied infantry all retreating back to base, there's not much that the Allies can do at this point to stop the Germans. So the Germans are gonna live by 20 points. And with these Panzerwerfers still alive, the Panzerwerfers are absolutely going to be on watch for any Allied units trying to cap. Let's see, what do the Allies actually have? We have a few infantry units and a couple of support weapons from Panzer moving, but a lot of resources, so he can build pretty much whatever he wants. I mean, against this, I hate to say it, I hate what I'm about to say, but the KV-1 would be a good idea. Because, you know, it's only Raketenwerfers, and the KV-1's pretty good against infantry. Also, it's got more HP than the T-34. And then the Puma, it's like, yeah, the Puma can harass the KV, but it's really difficult to kill the KV with the Puma, because it's going to just be bouncing a lot. You know? And the Americans, we have a lot of infantry and a Jackson. So very much infantry focused for the Allies. They're going to need to rely on that to regain control of the VPs. And obviously we have that the Panzerwerfers can be very, very important, very, very instrumental for the Germans to defend these VPs. And the machine guns will also do the same, much the same. So the right side is held by the Wehrmacht. It's actually floating a lot of manpower. He could probably be building a Brummbär right about now, considering he's got 200 fuel. And yeah, the Brummbär plus the MGs. We have the Wehrmacht defending the right, the OKW defending the center, and that Panzerwerfer barrage was angrily thrown at the center. Honestly, I think that these Panzerwerfers are all still bugged. They seem to be firing very, very quickly. Maybe that's just the veterancy. Fallschirmjäger trying to recapture the left-hand side. Of course, that's not going to work, but it's going to slow down the Soviets quite a bit. And the Soviets being reduced to no veterancy conscripts in the late game, this is just atrocious because these guys do not hit a single shot for their life. As you can see, full conscript squad losing against two kind of half-health Fallschirmjägers. You know, not the best thing ever. Of course, the vet-free conscript squad is able to come in and take it. But one Maxim is not going to be enough to defend against all of this coming in. And to be honest, I'm thinking that the Germans are going to run away with this. Because they just have more
all-rounded forces at their disposal. They're just in a better shape overall. And that's, you know, kind of sad for the Allies, because for a long while they'd been playing a lot better, but then they just kind of threw it all into the nothing. And yeah, I don't see, the thing is, a lot of it I think was just them not using their units perhaps as well as they could have been. Definitely I saw the Soviets throwing away his T-34s quite a lot. That's obviously never that great. And so it's really difficult to just kind of say what they could have done differently, because I don't think they could have done much differently. I don't know. On the right side, it seemed like it was a lot of the Panzerwerfers turning the tides. Perhaps something that could have hunted down the Panzerwerfers might have been good, but what? You know? Like, the Shermans died early and they were never rebuilt for many reasons that I think are very, you know, very viable. Like, honestly, he needed something to counter any German tanks, so he needed to spend his fuel on the Jacksons first and foremost. And also, he had a little bit of infantry left that could have definitely dealt with the Ostripens. So he was pretty safe on that front. Not getting more Shermans makes sense for NRA, and yet I still feel like something that could have hunted down those P-Werfers in a suicide mission might have been called for. Whether or not that would have been, you know, necessarily a Sherman or something else, I can't say. But yeah, that's definitely the big problem on the right. Big problem on the left, again, seems to be these T-34-76s not really, you know, living up to their usefulness. Because look at this, there's two Vet 5 folks. There's one Vet 5 Fallschirmjäger and a Vet 4 Fallschirmjäger. There's... Aren't the Shermans still gonna lose? No, because they're capping the left with Fallschirmjägers and they're capping the right with Ostrupen. Look at those hero Ostrupen not getting killed by the Sherman at the last possible second. To be honest, the Sherman could probably just dismount, because how useful is he going to be? And there's nothing that can prevent infantry from capping here. There's nothing that can prevent infantry from capping here. And actually, unfortunately, that's not enough, because the center is being capped as well. So yeah, that's the end, I'm guessing. And yeah, the Allies discovered this. Is this enough, though? Because maybe the left, they have managed to get the Fallschirmjägers out, but can they get anything else in? Nope, that was a wipe, and that's the end of the, you know, that's the end of the Allied push to the left. Whereas the Allied push to the right, yeah, it's still got a little bit of life left in it, but nah, I don't think so. Can the Allies take the left? That is just the only way they're gonna win, because the Germans are down to 8. So if they can take any VPs, that's good. If they can take 2 VPs, they win in like 21 seconds. I'm sorry, 24 seconds. If they take all 3 VPs, they win in 9 seconds. But they can't. They just can't. And this music is just pissing me off, so I'm gonna put it at no volume, and you know, for the next game, I'm gonna put on my own fucking music, because it's just pissing me the hell off. Nice smoke. Nice Fallschirmjägers. Yeah, they're down to 50 points. We have a bit of an attempt on the right side, but it's getting crushed by the Panzerwerfer. You know, stopped in its tracks because of the nice suppression effect. And, you know, all the smoke in the world is not going to help if he can just march in there and keep you from taking it. Although, we do have a big push here. Oh, no, that's just... Okay, the T-34 is going to die, and all this infantry is forced to retreat. This other infantry squad can't really do too much on its own. The right side can't be capped. And I'm thinking that the Germans with the triple cap are now going to win by VPs, because that's less than half a minute for the Allies. That's less than Wow. Okay, so National Revolutionary Army not the most happy, considering he had called GG, you know, 25 minutes ago. Ah, well, that's gonna be the end of that. There we go. So game number 1 done. And yeah, I'm, you know, recapping everything, I'd still say that the biggest problem for the Allies were those Panzerwerfers on the right. And on the left, it was just that Panzer moving kind of just, I don't know, he kind of just wasted a lot of units, I feel like. If you look at his units lost, he's lost 7 conscripts, 5 combat engineers, 4 T-34s, 1 Su-85, and 1 Katyusha. 128% efficiency. Hearts of Iron, well, he had less efficiency, but in terms of his infantry lost, he lost, and he was up against a lot more artillery. He lost 3 rear echelons, 1 INR Pathfinder, 2 paratroopers, 1 captain, 1 lieutenant, and a couple of riflemen, I feel like, which is, yeah, 3 riflemen. So it's around a similar loss rate, but with a much more damaging opponent in the form of those Panzerwerfers. And yeah, in terms of the actual vehicles, we have a relatively similar loss. And he was actually a lot less efficient, which is kind of weird. How many kills did those Panzerwerfers get? They were 500% efficient, which is pretty damn good for an artillery unit. They got, of 172 kills that Synthetic got, 34 plus 48. Oh my god. That is 82 kills. So yeah, that was almost 50% of the kills that Synthetic got. And I'm guessing a bit of the damage too. Yeah, 8,000 infantry damage, which is a quarter of the total damage. So yeah, definitely these Panzerwerfers on the right were absolutely crucial. Absolutely crucial, because, I mean, they're relatively cheap. They're like 85 fuel and 360 manpower. So yeah, those Ostrupen holding the line, plus the Panzerwerfers doing very well. And on the left side, well, we have 27 kills from the Stuka, but that's just 1/10 of the kills. And in terms of the damage, the Stuka has just been, let's see, 1,700 plus 900, so like 2,700, which is even less than 1/10. So yeah, that just kind of shows you the imbalance in terms of the infantry killing on either side. The right side was just a lot more about the artillery. The left side, a lot more about the Fallschirmjägers and about the wastage in general. The Panzer moving kind of did. I feel like a unit of shock strips or 2 would have helped. A little bit more usage of the For Mother Russia would have helped. And yeah, just using his doctrine at all would have helped, because he did not use it at all. He just never used it. I just now noticed. Honestly, he never used it, except maybe like a recon or 2. Oh well,